Hey, Ezra Firestone here, behind the scenes at Superfast Business Live with my man, Taki, the Talkster.
Thanks, dude.
How you doing, bro?
I haven't been called Talkster since primary school.
You're
That's
the
awesome.
Talkster,
Thank
man.
you.
So I first met Taki in San Francisco at a coffee shop.
People's Cafe.
Yeah, I think we were eating eggs and talking about who knows what.
Yeah.
Anyways, we just finished both of our presentations here, and you did a presentation on webinars that I thought was absolutely phenomenal. I run a lot of live events, and I took more notes in that presentation than any of the other presentations here, and I wanted to ask you if there's people who are running live events in their business, beginners, intermediate, advanced people, what's one thing that you would say would improve everybody's ability to run webinars and live events in their business?
Are we talking about a webinar to sell or an event to sell?
A webinar to sell.
Yeah, cool. I think the big mistake that people make is they try to teach and then they try to sell, and they treat them like two separate things. And so when they teach, they feel great, their energy's good and they're confident, and then when they sell, they get all clammy and their mouth dries up and it goes crappy. I think we talk.
So they don't feel good about selling. They don't feel good about making an offer to their community.
Yeah, they feel like it's kind of, this is the cool bit and this is the evil part, and we all want to feel good. We don't want to be evil, so that gets weird. And so I think the mistake they make is they try to teach and then sell. And what if you want to kind of up your level and be more comfortable at both? It's about, we're not going to teach and then sell. We're going to teach and sell. And so while you're teaching great stuff, but you're also kind of teaching and seeding people what to want that's going to come up in your offer. And then even when you walk through your offer, you're doing it in an educational way, so your coolness is high the whole way through.
So you're essentially teaching, just what you said, teaching the people what to want. So
Yeah.
you're taking them through the hour. You know what I think would be cool? Would be sharing how you segue between content and an offer, because that was really cool.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of ways to do it. I think the easiest way to do it is when you start your conversation, just to say, I'm going to give you everything I can in the time we got, and at the end, I'll show you where to go to get more help if you want it. And so you kind of made a promise at the start that then when it comes to your offer, you could either say, hey, let me pitch you some stuff now, which is kind of creepy, or you can, nobody wants to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy. Or you can just fulfill and keep the promise that you made up front. So you can say, right at the start, I told you I'd give you everything I could in the time we got, and then I'll show you where to go to get more help if you want it. So let me show you how to get more help around this stuff right now. And then you just kind of straight into your offer, and it's nice and smooth.
And transitioning into an offer after engaging with a group of people is a really subtle art that a lot of people mess up. So that's an awesome way to transition to an offer. One more thing is that, I go to all these events.
Yeah.
I go to most events, and I watch speakers, and I watch how people present and engage with groups of people. And you are phenomenally good at it for a couple reasons. Number one, you have extreme charisma, which is something that you have or you don't. It's not something you can really practice or learn, but you're also polished and you have strategies and techniques and tactics. So there's a lot of folks who want to present content to groups of people. They might have a physical product business or a community of some kind, a services agency, and they'd like to engage with their community, and they feel a little bit not particularly comfortable on camera. What are some things that people can do to feel a little better communicating with groups of people?
I reckon you talked about kind of charisma and style. I reckon the secret to being natural is to lean on structure, not on style. And I think if you can get a good structure that you feel comfortable in, then you can just be yourself. And honestly, it's not about being kind of rah-rah or whatever your style is. It's just about being you amplified,
Right.
So I'd say let's get a structure that you can work with. And there's an easy one that's been around for ages and ages. It's called format. And it's, we start with why it's important, then we go to what you need to know, and then how to do it, and then finally kind of what do I do now? And
why, what, how, what now?
Yeah, what now? I think technically it's meant to be what if, but I never understood what that meant, so I just go what now? Right.
What's next?
Yeah, so it's like why this is important, and you can talk about that, and then what you need to know, and tell them about the theory and the approach and the mindset, and then how to do it, it's kind of your steps, and then finally what now? And so I think just doing that will give you a good presentation, but if you want to kind of sex it up a little bit and keep people engaged, the secret, I reckon the little secret sauce is every time you switch from one session to the next, like if you go from why to what and what to how and how to now, every time you cross from one section to the next, you install some planned spontaneity. You do a little bit of an interactive bit. So you go, why? Here's why I think it's a really great idea. But you know what? More important than why I think this is important, I'd love to hear what do you think? And then you get people to write it down because that's safe, and then talk to the person next to them because that's like the next level of scariness, and then share it with the room. Whereas if you go, hey, so why do you think this is important? And then they don't know what to say, so they feel a bit uncomfortable. So every time you make a transition from why to what, or what to how, or how to now, install a little bit of spontaneous magic.
And when we looked at all of the speakers, you had the crowd most engaged with you, and it's because you were calling them back between every transition. The crowd was right with you.
Yeah, and they weren't at first. And I spoke lunchtime, and until
which is
then,
by the way, if you ever speak at a gig, after lunch is the worst. People are asleep, they're full, they've just eaten, they want a nap, they don't want to listen to you.
Totally. So I got to work a little harder, which is cool, right? So James put me in. Thank you, James. Appreciate
that.
Well,
he knew that
he totally knew. He knew I could do it. So I think that the secret is lots of people do conversation, like presentation up the front, where it's like me talk, you listen, you get bored, you fall asleep, you try to stay awake. So let's make that a little bit more of a conversation. And one of the things I enjoyed a lot about that session was that it felt like a two-way conversation rather than a one-way data dump. And honestly...
And conversations are what create actions. If you're just telling someone something, they may not want to hear it. But if you're engaged with them in rapport, you'll have a much better chance of them engaging with your offer.
Totally right. Exactly right. And frankly, it takes the pressure off you.
Yeah.
I reckon the secret to running a great workshop is to make them work harder than you do. And the best way to do that is to kind of start the conversation and have them finish it.
Totally. So this is Taki Moore, the Talkster. You got any other nicknames? Tuck Shop?
Tuck Shop is awesome.
Taki. He'll come back on the blog or on the podcast, talk a little bit more in depth about webinars. Thanks so much, man.
Pleasure, dude. It's heaps of fun. Take good care.